Right, guys, and welcome back. This is Above Average FPL. My name's Adam, and as always, I am joined by Baker. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good. Not the game week of choice.
Mate,
But,
doesn't matter. Tottenham won. That's all that matters.
Tottenham one. We'll take it, mate. It's so surprising for us to win. Like, yeah,
Well, it's like three
big.
in 3 and 5 or 4 and 5 now. We've had 4 clean sheets in the last 5 games. I love that we've gone straight into the Spurs propaganda.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we should do.
But yeah, been a bit of a mixed week so far from an FPL point of view. Not great.
Mixed, like
Mixed is generous, probably.
it's generous on my part, mate.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I think I'm surviving.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
at the moment.
Gabrielle,
Gabriel's
that's
definitely a difference maker
big.
for me. And, a lot of people have suffered this week, so obviously the Darwin news coming early on the Saturday that he wasn't travelling with the team. Obviously, then we had the Nketiah benching, which hit you twice and hit a lot of people around anyway. I mean, even,
Yeah,
free hit teams as well would have probably gone triple Arsenal attack, I would imagine. So anyone like that. We've got all the games today, all the games from so far this week. We've got the details of what are they? The chips that have been played and stuff like that in terms of game state. And then, yeah, and that's about it. I mean, so far, Haaland has outscored Saka and Salah, which is just typical double game week fun.
FPL.
Yeah, and I think I tweeted yesterday, like, who would have thought that Darwin would effectively have scored less points than Emmanuel Dennis so far from last year? It's just outstanding. Just
What week?
outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that the bit that does me on games like this where it's so far. And look, we are kind of what you'd say sort of halfway through the game week is a lot of people, myself, big hit club. I mean, -8's a big hit club.
Yeah.
-12's a stupid man's club like me. But you've done it to maximize and give yourself a crap load of players still to play. So you're hopeful that you can claw some of this back.
I mean, there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, I feel sorry for people that took hits and da 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 da." You would never tweet that out at halftime. Like, if you're not going to tweet that out at halftime, don't tweet it out now because we know we've got another 90 minutes to come. They are good fixtures for Arsenal and for Liverpool as well. I mean, Liverpool weren't great at all, but yeah, still another 90 minutes. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. A lot changed in 24 hours between that deadline going and Saturday. So
Christ, yeah.
A lot can change again. Hey, it might still get worse because there's plenty of good assets that those that went adventurous on it did. Look, I'm all for the resilient manager. I can see we've got a few in our chat tonight that didn't take hits and they're doing really well and good on them. The bit that I always get annoyed about is that the casuals also win. And I'm not saying the people that didn't take a hit are casual. Make sure they're but you will see some random ass teams with 7 players that haven't made a transfer for 4 weeks that have done really well this week.
With Haaland captain, of course.
With Haaland captain, just left it. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
That's the bit. That's the bit that irritates me a little with weeks like this. Is when it doesn't pay to get involved.
Yeah,
that's when it's a bit.
You're gonna win over those people after over a 38-week season, aren't you? So you just take that mini little dig to your ego, and you move on.
You play these weeks how you want to play them, and you do each week what you want to do. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You can still catch up, and if it did work out, great, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. So for the benefit of people that are listening who can't see our screens on YouTube. So how many points are you on net?
My net points are 22.
And you've had everybody play bar Darwin.
Oh mate, yeah. I mean, I took out Kane. So I made 2 early transfers, my free tree transfers. I made them relatively early, and I went Salah and Taco in for De Bruyne and Doherty, all fine. And then I was like, I want Trent. What else do I want to do? Oh, I'm probably going to do Kane to Darwin. Yeah, I'll do that because it's the easiest way to do it. And then later on, I started thinking about the fact of Mitro. It sounded like Mitro was out. And I was really nervous about White's minutes. And I also was nervous about them playing Leicester. I was really busy in the week. I hadn't seen that potentially Maddison was a doubt. And I thought Maddison and Nacho are flying. They're not keeping it clean. They haven't kept it clean in 5. I'll take White out and I'll put Eddie in. Well, that worked out terribly. That alone is like a 10-point swing. Yeah, massive. So
I'd forgotten to look at the impact of transfers.
I'm not looking at the impact of transfers. Don't tell me, please.
Okay, I won't tell you. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So
I know what it is. I've got net 22 points.
It's bad.
You take a 12-point hit, it's got to come off. It's got to pay in it. That's the thing. You take a 12-point hit, it's gotta pay.
Yeah, it's half time. The only issue is you have triple Arsenal attack against Tarko. So you just bin Tarko at this point. You just want all the points from the guys up front.
All the points,
which is wonderful as a Spurs fan.
Perfect. Yeah, couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better.
To be honest, mate, if Tarko gets a hat trick, then that'll do. Who cares?
Yeah, true. So you've had a bit of a drop, but there's half time. So we'll see what happens in the next few days. Everyone's still got loads of players to play. I, as you say, -8 this week. I'm on a net 34, which means I'm on a small red arrow at the moment. My difference is being Gabriel. But it's ridiculous. I was obviously full bench wanker. Obviously, having Darwin first bench probably was the reason why he didn't travel. I probably forced that, definitely. And I sold Kane as well, which looks like a bad move now, but it facilitated Trent coming in, which was what I wanted to do, and I needed the money to be able to do that. So had I not done that, I wouldn't have got the 6 points from Trent. So the 6 points from Kane, it's a sort of a net -4, which isn't great.
Yeah.
Then Nonto obviously comes off after 60, banks his 2 points, and then gets fucking booked celebrating a goal. Cheers.
I didn't see that till after the game, and I flicked on to like live score or something like that, and it just says Nonto not on pitch written underneath it. 78 minutes.
I'm pretty sure when I looked on SofaScore, it just said yellow card. It just didn't register who was actually being booked. I haven't checked that back, but when I looked at the time, it just said yellow card because he's not on the pitch. So I don't even know. I had Saka captain, so exactly the same as Salah. Perfect. That's fine. And SofaScore doesn't even have it. Oh, there you go.
Live score.
Oh no, SofaScore does have it. Wilfred Nonto, brackets on bench, unallowed field entering. Bastard.
Perfect. Amazing.
So yeah, that's where I am at the moment. So I've still got obviously Tarkowski, Gabriel, Bueno, Salah, Saka, Darwin, maybe Odegaard and Trent still to play. So still loads and loads of minutes there.
Plenty of twists and turns here, mate.
Cool. So in terms of how we're doing against the field, I think what I wanted to look at, and this is the data from live FPL, was that, and it's a bit of a busy screen this, so apologies if you're looking at this on YouTube and it's a bit small, but I'll try and explain to anyone who hasn't seen this before. But the top image is showing the chip usage within the week, and then the bottom 2 images are showing the percentage of people that used a chip or didn't use a chip, etc. So it should mirror the ones above, but also the average live total points. For that particular chip. So you'd obviously expect if you used a chip, you would get more points, which is what it's saying here at the moment. But in terms of the top 10k, it's interesting. Like 824 managers use their free hit, and almost 700 managers use their wild card. Now, triple captain, fair enough. 138 managers. There's a few Salahs and Sakas and stuff like that. And a few mentalists on, like 5 absolute mentalists on bench boost, but.
Bench boosting this week.
5 people, nuts. They're just consolidating. There's a guy in my mini league that's just burning through his chips at the moment. He's top, but he's just going chip after chip after chip, and I'm like, I keep looking at it thinking I'm going to catch him, and then he plays another chip the next week. I'm like, oh god, okay. But
that's the exciting thing about this. Do you not think when you're looking at it, look at the amount of chips that are used already?
Yeah, and that's it. Top 10k, like half have used the free hit.
Yeah,
right? And almost 30% have used the wild card, and almost 30% have used the bench boost. And we're all sitting here without those, without having used those, knowing that we are going to gain on the top 10k in those weeks when we use them. 100%.
We're going to gain as long as we don't keep taking -12s and fuck it.
As long as we, yeah, exactly. And could stop for a second and say thank you to Kev for the super chat. Kev's one of our patrons. Fantastic support as always. So thank you very much, Kev. Really appreciate that. Yeah, so loads of chips have been used already. And in terms of the top 10k, those that are not on a chip, 38.5 points. Now I don't know whether that's net or gross. I don't know.
I think it's net.
I think it's net. Yeah, I
I'm
would
guessing
think it's net.
So no chips averaging 38. So at the moment, what's that? So free hits currently gaining 4 points on the field.
Basically 4.5 points on the field, which isn't many. But
many,
they're probably going to have 11 or 10 if you exclude maybe Haaland left to play.
I think a lot of free hits would have had Darwin and Nketiah as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that would have hurt. Obviously, you'd have gone Pickford, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Pickford or Salah. Either way, you ain't got nothing on the double keepers.
You keep saying this. I basically helped to pick a free hit team for my sister. So
yeah.
Pickford was in there, and Nketiah was in there. Yeah, double Everton defence.
Plenty of time to go. Into the games. We got 8 games.
7-8 games, something like that, yeah.
7-8 games.
Before we do that, just a reminder to everyone that Above Average FPL is supported by Crypto Blockdan. Head over to Twitter at Crypto Blockdan. Go give him a follow if you have any questions about the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, all that good stuff. Then drop him a follow, drop him a DM, ask him some questions. He's fantastically supporting the pod as always, and he is in the chat. He's in our Discord, and yeah, really, really engaged man this season. And thanks again to you, Dan, for your support to us. And if anybody wants to come and join us in the Discord, just head over to patreon.com/above average FPL and join the discussion. Lots and lots of game weeks to come, lots of doubles, blanks, all sorts of stuff going on. So, we look at each other's teams, we give each other advice, we have a bit of banter in there, etc., etc. Might start adding in some little competitions and stuff just to make things a little bit interesting, just to change it up. So if you fancy joining, go right ahead, patreon.com/above average FPL. And if you do like what you see at any point on the YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to see more of it, hit subscribe. That stuff's free, it's easy to do, and it helps us more than you can believe. So retweets, shares, all that good stuff, etc., etc. Thank you. Games. Has anybody said a question about a game first? Spurs Chelsea.
Andy Martin got in first, Spurs Chelsea. So we'll just take that because we like Spurs Chelsea. Before that, should we just say congratulations, Man United? We got a lot of Man United friends.
Oh, I didn't put that in here actually. I was going to put United in there and I was only going to put it in here because whilst it isn't a Premier League game, it's still relevant to how teams are performing at the moment and like how we should be looking at Newcastle or Man United assets going forward.
We'll get onto them. We'll talk about fixtures when we
cool.
We can cover them.
Cool. Okay.
How do you feel?
I mean, I'm happy. The game was boring as hell. Particularly and I was about a minute behind you on my stream. So, I'd accidentally left the WhatsApp group open when the game had already kicked off. So I just get screaming like, yes! What? Hasn't kicked off yet?
Yeah.
Obviously Skip's banged one into the top corner. Okay, thanks very much. I don't know what to say. I mean, the game was the first 45 minutes was just was like who wanted the ball least, basically. And
yeah,
it was just dull and I can't even remember the first half. That's how bad it was.
We did the old, I think what we're now seeing is that they've gone back to defending as 4-5-1 rather than, or 5-4-1 rather than the 5-3-2 type thing. That's what you see normally when it's sort of sun. You see the 5-3-2 defence that we see. They sort of sat in on the 5-4-1, and it does make it bloody hard for the opposition when we do the 5-4-1 and Kane sits up top. It's good for Kane because it means he's always going to be involved in stuff when we do break. I feel like the ref just killed that first half, mate. He didn't know what he was. I get so sick of big game refs going, oh, it's a big game, it's a derby. What I'm going to do is let it run, because it just ends up with just chaos. Is the challenge on Richarlison should have been a booking, that he played the advantage of and done the thing. So then he doesn't do anything about that. He doesn't come back for the advantage that he's played. So Richarlison's just like a madman and just dives in on James. Richarlison should get a book in. James should get a book in for telling the ref that he's getting a book in and all that crap. Then Kane's like, I always think when Kane decides to do this, when it's like, it's like the posh kid at the party where he's like trying to be good. So he like puts a cone on his head and says, "Oh, look at this banter." Like that's how Kane is when he tries to do something funny, like he leaves his shoulder on Kepa. You're like, what are you doing, mate? It just looks clumsy, but he should have been booked for that. And then you've got the Ziyech Havertz Royal Battle Royale, which is always going to happen because of the ref just not booking people. It's just stupid, and then games are non-event. Funny enough, I guarantee you they spoke to that ref at half time and said, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I was a bit confused about what was happening with that incident.
Nobody knew.
Because
nobody knew.
Well, it was weird because at half time you were saying like, he was going to be booked for that challenge, but then I didn't see anything that said he was going to be booked for that challenge, even though he should have been booked for that challenge. So,
well, he didn't get to actually give the cards, did he? But then he ends up giving it to
he gave it to Havertz because I think for the flick beforehand, because there's a kick out to try and take him down before that challenge actually happens. Then he books Royale for intervening. It's almost like he's waiting because he knows that Ziyech has done something. So he's waiting for a confirmation. And I think if you go and look at Dale Johnson, ESPN, he actually clarifies the order of the process and how it happened. So apparently, the assistant referee said there was an arm raised, but neither of them saw who it was, and the VAR confirmed it was Ziyech. So then he gave a red card, and then the VAR turned around and went, "It's not a red card." I mean, like, it sounds farcical.
They can't. That's the bit in it. Like, either the ref has to go, "I didn't see it and I didn't see it," but I think I'm not going to give it, and then I'll trust the process. The VAR will tell me I've made a mistake. But once he gives the red card, it's not a mistake. Like, it's not a mistake. Regardless of what happens, if he literally touched his nose and went, "Woohoo," and run off, it's still not a mistake. Like, you can't start being degrees of violence on VAR. That I don't agree with, because this is a worldwide game. Everybody watches it, and kids will do that tomorrow. There will be violence in the streets tomorrow, and someone will go, no, I didn't actually hit him. I just sort of cuffed him a little bit and he moved his head. Like, once he's made a red, it shouldn't be overturned. That's not right. Like, that's just a bad, that just creates weirdness. But he shouldn't have given the red. And then if he didn't give the red, then VAR's completely right to say it's not a red. It's just a bit of handbags. Don't worry about it. And that's where it's all stupid. It's just bad officiating again.
Well, it's a question of what he sees. I mean, I agree and disagree in some ways, because I mean, I agree.
No one wants it to be a red. That's the point.
Yeah,
Nobody really wants it to be a red.
I didn't think it was a red.
But once he gives it a red, it's not a good message. It's not a good message to go, nah, like it's a bit of an open hand.
It's whether it's like we see he's hit him in the face. I mean, that's what they're saying. We see he's hit him in the face, and then the VAR comes in and goes, actually, no, he's hit him on the shoulder, but his hand slipped or whatever. But then you're right. You're saying you're sort of putting like the subjective view on degrees of violence, and it does come into a bit of a nonsense. There's a question. Like let's get past this. There's a question in the chat. Is Emerson an option? You tell me.
Oh God, Emerson. I brought in Matt Doherty. I said we were never going to say Dowie again, and there we are saying him. I brought him in game week 20, and obviously Emerson got in. And since then, Emerson is he's managed to get 45 points since game week 20. Estupiñán is the second highest defender on 36 behind that. He's the highest scoring defender since he got in that team.
We stood there I sat here last week saying don't get Spurs defenders. I still stand by it.
You can't do it because one is they've almost certainly got a blank in 28, unless we'll know that before this game week goes. And then they haven't got a double in 29. Don't do it. And I think that's the same thing on Kane for us, is that if you didn't come off Kane, you got a lot to try and work through. You're probably almost certainly free hit in 28. Mind you, Kane's quite a nice route to Bruno in 29, if you have got Kane now. If you did keep him through this, which, look, we all saw it, 50% of the game has, I'd be looking at keeping him. And I think when everyone else might struggle unless they're wild carding to get to Bruno in 29, Kane could be a really good option to get there to him. But other than that, I mean, Chelsea players, you can't go anywhere near them.
No, they've scored 1 goal in their last 7 games, I think it is, or 1 league goal in the last 7 games.
Yes, it's like 565 minutes or something now.
Yeah, something like 80 shots, 1 goal. In fact,
but it's
80 since the restart,
shots.
it's go on.
The average shot is 0.1 xg, 0.1 xg per shot. You know, if you go on Opta's thing they did earlier, a thing about all their shots in 2023. So they get 136 shots. One is there's a huge number outside the box. The 4 goals are all within 6-7 yards, you know, of the goal. So they haven't got great finishes. They're taking them from well outside. We said about Felix a while back, and we said about, I'm not 100% sure you do discount the Atletico. I'm not 100% sure you do discount it. You know, he never got double digits there. He looks like he wants to work really hard for the team. He looks like he needs to be told, go play number 9, because he's not playing number 9 now. You look at his team, he's everywhere. He's a really good team player. We don't want team players for forwards.
Oh no, absolutely.
You want goal scorers.
Yeah, that's it. You want goal scorers that are going to get the bonus.
Goal scorers. Yeah.
Not like Kane. Where are we going next? We're going to have to pick, because chat did not pick. Or there was a second one. I think Leicester Arsenal came up, didn't it?
Leicester Arsenal.
Arsenal. Okay, cool. We'll go there. Who wants to go next? My door's just opened and nobody's there. That's useful. Really weird. Really, really weird. Leicester Arsenal. So Leicester here.
Look at this.
Leicester, this game. Leicester here. Apparently, I think it was the XG philosophy said they've had the lowest XG on record since they've started recording data from the Premier League. It's not the days of the old. I remember Sunderland doing nothing against. Didn't even have a shot against Liverpool once, and they drew 0-0, which was amazing. But Leicester offered absolutely nothing apart from that Kiernan Dewsbury Hall shot, which I remember on Match of the Day. I vividly remember that shot. But they offered absolutely nothing.
Nacho scored, but offside. But it was comfortable offside. He knew it was offside.
Yeah.
Do you think he finishes like that if it's not like he knew? Like he's so cool in his finishes.
It was pretty cool. I think the whole.
Why'd they take him off though? Like, why did he just still then? He's insistent. You're 1-0 down. The guy there's 2 people that are returning regularly in Maddison and Nacho. You've not got Maddison. Just keep him on. Like, bring him Vardy on for Nacho. Just so irritating. Like, they're just so comfortable for it. I
mean, it's not that Arsenal created anything after that at all. Imagine being at the ground for that last 30 minutes. There's 1 shot.
1 shot in the last half hour of the game. They just controlled it. They knew what they were doing. They were good. There is definite signs over the since the restart, watching these graphs over and over and over and over again, the size of their chances is lower.
Mm-hmm.
The size of their chances are lower. They're not cutting teams up as much as they were. That's not good for Odegaard. That's definitely not good for Odegaard, because we saw last week his one shot was when they did manage to cut them open. Yeah. But if they're not creating lots of big chances, he's always involved. But I don't feel like the Hall's. Hopefully, Hall's Wednesday night now, because we both got him. but
Ugh.
as well as Tarko gets a hat trick, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's a bit of an issue. I would say Trossard did well. What do you make of the VAR for the Trossard goal?
I think Ben White's been real sneaky there. I think he's almost got away with it as well.
I like that they call it. I like that they call it. He's pulled his arm and they've caught him.
Even if he's holding his hand or just grabbing his hand, he can't jump, right? So he can't jump. So you can't, like, it's chaos theory or butterfly effect, butterfly effect is you don't know what would have happened if he's not holding his hand. So, he could have got a firm punch on that, could have gone over Trossard's head, could have caught it. I mean, unlikely, but you just don't know. So I think it was the right decision, and I'm not just saying that as a Spurs fan. I just think it was the right decision.
I do think it's the right decision. What really disappoints me on this is, like, we are we're the referee bashers, but when they do something clever, even then it still gets bashed. Like, everyone wanted to bash it, and
it's just because he's knocked it top bins. I mean, Mike's just said about the Saka pen as well.
If it was a deflected shot that went in or somewhere, they wouldn't want it. It's because it's a nice goal.
Yeah,
that people want it.
Was it the McAllister had one in the?
Yes,
that was against Leicester as well, wasn't it? I think it was when they battered Leicester. He had one as well. Mike's asked about if that's a foul, then it's a Saka pen. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Of course you don't, because you got Captain Saka. This is the problem. We're all
but it's clumsy from Suter.
Is it
Suter? It was Suter, wasn't it? It's clumsy. Yeah. He's just falling into him, and
it is. But
I know there's definitely a higher bar on contact, but he's just clumsy, I think.
It is clumsy. I mean, Pickford on Watkins was very similar. It's clumsy. Similar type thing.
I had this discussion. We'll get to that, but I had this discussion last night, or I said this last night. But the Pickford one, I don't agree with, because the Pickford, whilst I agree he comes out, but he gets the ball. The shot's made and it hits him, which is, for me, I guess maybe as a striker, my immediate reaction is, as soon as the keeper gets a hand on it or anything on it, once you've taken the shot, everything else is just part of the game.
That's old school, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
A little bit, but
like the Edison one the other week, where he jumps and does the fit. Like, there's loads of them where I always just think the thing about the Saka one is he's never getting to the ball. Like,
no,
he would have to have got on Suter's shoulders to have got that ball, and Suter's 6'6" to get there. The ball is nothing to do with them. Yes, it's a clumsy coming together, but it is a clumsy coming together, and it didn't matter. If they didn't have that coming together, then they still don't get the ball. So if it was and the ball was waist high, I'd be a bit more in it. But the fact that it was a coming together and he's not getting the ball, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think this. So, we need to take into account that obviously the level of chance or the quality of chances that Arsenal are creating at the moment is not conducive to lots of FPL points. So would you feel, 0.64 XG, and if anybody's sitting on 3, it's like, ugh.
I think it all depends on game state still as well, though. I think we have to always mention the game state thing here. They were continually creating until they scored. Yeah, and then they managed the game. So I think, rather than thinking that they're not a explosive team or attacking team or whatever type thing, I think they're looking to control games. They're trying to win out their games now. So I think that's really good for Gabriel.
Yeah,
I think that's fantastic for him. You could really start to see that at the moment. So I think it's okay for Ben White as well. I think he's likely. There's potential he could get. I think there's still potential that he doesn't start because there's so many games. But I think I feel like at 1-0, you're so loath to take off a defender, aren't you? You're so loath to do it. You're like, it's only 1-0. If I do it, then that could be the thing that makes things not work. At 2-0, I think they just take White off.
But I recall in the past. And this is not to say that these two managers are any way alike, but this is like Tottenham under Mourinho. If we got a goal early, we'd manage games, and we looked at that as do you want Kane and Son? And the answer was not really. You didn't want both, because there's just no. If you're picking forwards or you're picking midfielders and you're looking at them for goal threat, if they're going to score one, and that one is going to be from, we're only going to get 2 returns from 1 goal, and you're going to have Martinelli, Trossard, Ødegaard, Saka, Nketiah, Jesus, like, are you doubling up to try and catch a piece, or are you trying to double up to try and catch all of it? Right? See,
yeah.
I feel like we're doubling up. I feel if it continues like this, we'll be doubling up to almost catch a piece, and I almost don't want that. So I feel like I could be moving off them soon.
If you're going to free hit in 28, it becomes a lot easier as well. If this week plays out and you look at it and go, I'm going to free hit 28, well, in 27, you're definitely playing Salah. You're definitely, or KDB, whoever you've got, you're definitely playing Rashford home to Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely playing Saka away to Fulham.
Yeah,
that's not going to not happen. You're probably only playing four midfielders, sorry, and you're going to want a piece of Brighton. So I think there could be a case for Odegaard becomes potentially expendable if you're going to free hit in 28 and 27. And it could be similar on Nketiah for Tony.
Yeah.
But we've got to see where that goes. You know, I think a lot of people are looking at maybe Darwin. They brought him in and go, I'll go straight to Tony. But if they get a game in 28...
I definitely am looking at that, honestly.
If they get a game in 28, though, then there might be other ways. You know, I'm not sure if I would do it this week if I was doing Darwin to Tony. Albeit, we'll look at the fixtures later and he's got a massive break. Anyway, Arsenal, I think you can start to think about it. I think they're going to keep more clean sheets. That's my theory. Fair. And I've just come off their defence. Perfect.
Nice.
Move on.
Moving on. Did somebody say Liverpool?
Yeah, let's do Liverpool.
Okay, so moving on, this graph is from Understat and showing that Liverpool picked up about 1.4 XG to Palace's 1. It didn't look as good a game as this. Like, it looks okay, this game.
But do you not think this sometimes, when you look at XG charts, is because they're never the scale type thing. And as long as they're both about matched, you kind of think to yourself, oh, this looks a bit fun. But realistically, 1.4, think about Liverpool.
I mean, I'm just going back to the Leicester one. Yeah,
there's a lot of bad games.
It didn't need to go.
There's a lot of bad games this week, didn't it? There's a lot of bad games. The two teams that got over 2 XG this week were Villa and West Ham. When we used to talk about core 2 XG teams, it's like now we're like core decent game for Liverpool, 1.4 XG.
Yeah, but they don't create the same XG without Darwin on the pitch. He's just not
even close.
Not the chaos. It's not the chaos that you need.
No, they showed. I saw stats earlier saying about with Darwin, without Darwin, and
I was just trying to find that on my screen.
Oh, we got that. I
haven't got it on. I haven't got it on there, but you did send it to me, so I've just got it loading up onto my screen now. So just try and fill some time while it comes up.
Give away so many stupid chances, don't they? The Liverpool. That Mateta chance was huge. You know,
it was a complete just Trent being lazy, and he's still getting found out making mistakes. It's just silly, but yeah, it's like Liverpool 17.7 shots. With an XG of 1.93 and a win percentage of 54% with Nunez in the side. Yeah. 14.6 XG, 14.6 shots per game, 1.6 XG, and a 30% win rate when he doesn't start.
That's top 14 versus not top 14. Basically. Quite simply.
Yeah.
You know, if he's starting every game, they're top 14.
Yeah.
Without him, they're not. So hopefully for us Darwin Owens, we will get him back. Yeah. Oh, mate, that Trent free kick, it done me in. Henderson, what is he doing?
I just don't understand what position he's trying to take up there. He knows where this. He's got to know where this free kick's going. Surely, he's got to know.
He's got to know where it's going. So, if you haven't seen it, go to my Twitter. There's a video on my Twitter. Of
which has double the views of the tweet that you took it from.
I don't really understand. Yeah, an account with 290,000 followers tweeted it, and somehow it's got double the views on little old me tweeting it. He back heels it, and Trent bangs it. It's going top corner all day long, and Henderson managed to get in the way and block it. And as a Salah cap Trent owner, that was just infuriating.
Just
Then
that makes the week. That, I mean, forget Darwin. I mean, that just turns your red into a green. Like,
just alone
done
on that. And that's the thing about this game. It is such fun. We can't control these madness things that happen after the game. We just have to pick the players and hope for the best. Other than that, Mo was decent, underside of the bar as well. He could easily have got it. But look, what do you want from Mo in a double game week? You want one-on-ones, you want shots in the 6-yard box, and it's not really there. They're not really doing that. They still need to work hard. And the defenders are one of the things about Matip being back in is all the defenders now are smashing in the baseline. I mean, Trent was nowhere near the baseline when he went off because he just had a terrible game. The only positive for Trent is that Milner played 90 minutes. So their only option. No, it's just whether they put Joe Gomez back there or something like that. But it's definitely got right. But I was counting the old bonus at the end. So with about 10 minutes to go, Van Dijk, Matip, and Robertson were all on for top bonus, all on 30. So that's 18 on the baseline each at that point. Then Matip gets booked. So that drops him down a little bit. And then poor Robbo owners. He just slipped down to 2 bonus. Van Dijk had gone top. I'm not going to say poor Robbo owners, actually. I can see Praz is mentioning it about how unlucky he is on Praz. You're never unlucky when one of the worst humans on earth, and Robbo is one of the worst humans on earth, decides to just dive in on someone in the corner because he's a petulant little man that he is. Because that's what he did and got a yellow. Like, he did it because he did a Robbo challenge in the Robbo corner. Like, you're not unlucky when you do that. You're just Robbo. So yeah, that's a nasty one where you then just drop bonus, drop yellow card. But yeah,
going back to the discussion we had on Pickford earlier and the discussion we had on Edison earlier. How about Gakpo on and Gaeta?
Do you not think it's just a bit naive as well on that one? Like, just take the penalty.
Well, I think he gets. I think it's a foul. I mean, if it's this is it. I think no. Okay, let me get this right. I don't think it's a foul. However, if the Edison one is given as a foul, then that has to be a foul by precedent, right? Like, the shot's gone away.
Yep.
And he's not made contact with the ball, but he's made contact with the player. The player has gone over. There's no advantage because it hasn't gone in the back of the net. So, like, why was it not a penalty?
They didn't give it enough, did they? They didn't push it enough.
There was no complaining and stuff. No, it was hard. I mean,
they didn't push it enough.
He didn't look bothered, did he? Actually,
he didn't. That was the big problem.
That was the problem. He wasn't shouting and screaming for it. He wasn't shouting and screaming for it.
I missed because of what he did. You know, he should have said, "Well, I'd have just put it in," but he's taken me out, and so that's just a skewed shot, and he should have been crying immediately about it. It just felt a little naive. The whole thing felt a bit naive from Gakpo, and therefore it is what it is. But yeah, as a Salah cap, I really wanted it to be a penalty.
No, I can imagine. Well, he was still 100%. He was still under 100% owned for me, so I wasn't fussed.
Yeah.
So it was everyone was all points for me apart from Haaland. So. Okay. Well,
should we talk about Haaland?
Yeah, let's go there.
I said about teams above. I was like, I don't even count City when City get over 2xG because they definitely did get over 2xG.
Yeah, but it was fully expected. Full control, fully expected.
Just didn't bother with the last half hour.
Do we think they're more efficient with KDB not on the pitch? It's weird. Like against teams where, well, against maybe lower half teams perhaps, because obviously he didn't play against Tottenham, but I don't know what Pep was expecting from Bournemouth. But you know,
they're just such a hard. I feel like every game I watch them, I feel like Gundo's the best player on the pitch.
Yeah,
every single game, he's phenomenal. Well, it's like I don't even count Haaland because It is what it is.
We've all got Haaland scores, and we all got Haaland, so it's not really
Yeah. But I feel like Gundo just makes them tick. Like they'll just use him as much as they possibly can. Then Foden comes on, and I mean, every team in the league would just love to have Foden, wouldn't they? They'd just love to have him. It's just Phil. It's just so good. But God knows what they do.
You feel like he's always going to. You feel like Mahrez is always going to be the one that bangs it. He's just going to be quiet and not involved and just sitting on the sidelines. And then suddenly, bang, there's your points. And Mahrez will do that to you. Whereas you feel like Foden will always be involved in the play. He's always willing and, wanting to get forward, wanting to be involved. You saw that last week with the Haaland bit where he passed. It didn't quite go right. Obviously, he's trying to feed him, but ironically, he got in exactly the same position this week, didn't he? And didn't have Haaland there to pass to. And what did he do? He just slotted it.
His movement is so good, Foden's. It's so, like you say, on Mahrez, he doesn't really have to worry about his movement because he just has obscene touch and can bang from anywhere and do whatever he likes. But Foden just gets himself into beautiful positions. I feel like everyone enjoys it more. And maybe they are better without KDB. I mean, they're just good. And I think the thing at the end of it is he just basically said they're just getting through games. They're running on fumes. You can see that in a lot of teams at the moment. They're running on fumes, which means they're going to give away chances. And they do. And Ederson doesn't really save them. So,
no.
Another
frustrating.
Got away with that, didn't they?
Who? Ake owners.
Ake owners got away with that.
We should do a little piece on that. We should have a little table each week, just like who managed to bank clean sheets. No one does that, do they? Who banked a clean sheet? No, it's just something a little bit niche we could just add in there, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe just get General to just change that 59-minute club and just start doing this.
Doing the bank clean sheet club.
Go on, General. Yeah, we know you listen to us, Mark. Change it. Clean sheet banks.
I'll talk to you in a month as well, Mark. We'll talk about that. I mean, What does that change? Does it change anything for us? I mean, because last week we were saying you can go with just one City player. Like Grealish has started like 9 out of 9, but he doesn't get involved.
Just one City player.
You're happy enough? Just Haaland. Who cares about the rest?
Yeah.
3xG. We only want one attacker.
It's ridiculous. I know exactly what I'm saying, but it's it's just more hassle than it's worth. It really is.
Yeah.
I said about the fact of potentially someone's going to take like Arsenal midfielder out to get in a Brighton midfielder. Well, you wouldn't do that over. You'd take Mahrez out, even though it doesn't matter what the game is, but you'd still be like, I just can't trust. They've in so many competitions, got so many games. I just go down to Haaland.
Fair enough. Cool. Moving on.
What about Haaland? What about Haaland for captaincy this week? Any early thoughts on that? Home to Newcastle.
I'm terrible with this. Home to Newcastle. I mean, he's very good at home. That's what we need to. We need to remember that he is excellent at home. I'm just thinking, who else is there? I mean, Saka again.
Home to Bournemouth.
Potentially.
I think Saka's going to be. If Saka just gets a goal midweek, I think that's enough. I think that's going to be.
Who are the other captain options? Kane away at Wolves, and then Rashford at Anfield. Nah, probably not there.
What, Mateta just took about Trent. Is Rashford captain option against Liverpool?
Maybe. I wouldn't do it. I don't think I'd do it.
I think
Saka is
going to be over 100% owned.
Who, Rashford?
Yeah.
What, because Man United fans have won the League Cup, so they think they're going to win every game until the end of the season?
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, casual work maybe, but I don't think anyone that's worth chasing will factor in the League Cup victory as a thing. I mean, look, the Rashford's on some ridiculous streak at the moment.
Yeah.
And it keeps going. I mean, he's definitely still ahead in returns versus games over his last like 19 games or something, all comps. He's still ahead. He's still on more than one return per game for like almost half a season's worth of games.
if somehow Haaland gets midweek off, I think that just makes life a lot easier. And they're away to Bristol City.
Yeah,
in midweek.
Yeah. He
If he
probably will
doesn't
be
play.
rested. I can't imagine he will play.
Nah,
Surely he
if he doesn't
just
play
rolls out with
midweek,
Julian and just lets him
yeah.
have some fun. And Grealish will get a rest. Mahrez will play. KDB might come in just to add a bit of flair and steel. Maybe. I mean, they're not going to need.
Yeah, they've
loads.
just rested a few others, haven't they? They can play them.
Yeah.
I think if he rests at Bristol, it's gonna be very, very hard.
Yeah. Bristol City.
Where we going?
You got to say Bristol City. That's like saying Nottingham or Sheffield or Manchester.
I like to say it just to really adore him.
Where are we going next? I don't know. Chat.
We got Sheffield on Wednesday night, haven't we?
Oh, that's terrible. That's even worse. That's actually even worse. You've kind of double whammied that one.
Yeah,
right. Terrible. Wow.
Dive in. Where are we going now? We're going to Notts.
No, let's go to Fulham. I just want to say fair play to anyone who brought Sarabia in this week for a punt.
Fair play. I mean, the minutes was just scary for me. But
yeah, I didn't even think that the underlying numbers weren't even there. There's a bit of
right at the start of the game, I thought, did he look younger than I? He looked like young and fresh, and I was like, oh, he looks quite young and fresh.
He looks quite young and fresh in this photo, to be fair.
Yeah.
Isn't he like 29?
Yeah, at least, I think. I think he might be 31. How old Sarabia? We need to go check that stuff out.
Yeah,
but he looked, I was like, Christ, looks great for his age. How old? 30, 31 in May. Jeez. So nearly 31.
Mate, don't get into that. He's 30 until he's 31.
Yeah, he is. But he looked fresh for 30.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God. They're a good team, Wolves.
They're all right.
They're
okay.
I mean,
they're okay. I feel they're middle of the road.
Well, that's all they need to be because they're in the relegation zone.
Yeah, they're middle of the road. I think I feel like if you look around that side, there's enough quality to obviously stay up. I think there's worse sides. What I wasn't happy about was for the first time in about God knows how long, Lopetegui did not make a 60th minute left back substitution. I mean, what the hell is he doing? Like literally every week on the
yeah,
every week he's done it. Doesn't do it, and then they concede in like the 62nd minute.
The annoying thing is it's because Bueno was so good. He was great.
Yeah,
I thought he was great.
Got man of the match.
Man of the match. He. No points, not that points business. We don't do that around here. But I thought he was really good. Because so effectively, if you look at like the lineup supposed to be, it suggested that like Sarabia might play. I think in the Bournemouth game before that, I think he played left wing Sarabia, and they played Sarabia and Traore as wingers. But in this one, they played effectively no left winger because they played Mateus Nunes off the left channel, but he plays more like a Saka type role of he's a centre midfielder. So therefore, Bueno was literally like the only man on that left side, and especially once Cunha goes off, because Cunha was sort of pulling left quite a bit. Then yeah, I don't think there was a reason to take him off. He was their most creative midfielder down that even midfielder, let alone defender down that side. Didn't really see crosses coming in from anyone else. It kind of made sense. I thought Jim was mobile up top, was good. The assist, the header back, it's fantastic for the goal. What I like about Fulham is that they keep pushing. They do keep pushing. They're a good team. They work it out. They got themselves back in the game.
So who's this Solomon bloke?
Yeah, so Walshy, one of the FML Discord guys, messaged me in the week and said about him, because I actually said, I think I'm glad we didn't short that for last week, but I think I actually said I don't know who he is. And So apparently, he was supposed to be the winger, and then they ended up getting Willian because the fact that he was injured. So he sort of fit the profile for him, and now he's back. So he should have been what Willian is basically for them. And he looks fantastic. Looks great. Looks barrel of fun. But I mean, it's such a downgrade, Vinicius to Mitro. You remember when they were trying to charge us 50 million quid for Vinicius?
Yeah.
That's the reason we didn't pay that money. Like they just, without Mitro, he just makes everything else happen for him.
Solomon kept Mudryk out of the Shakhtar team. That's interesting. I mean, I can't fact check that, but fair play if he did.
We'll just say it. We can say what we like.
Cheers, Colm.
Yeah.
But what are you doing? You picking any of them?
No.
Cool.
Probably never playing Bono again.
No.
We're not, are we? Because it's probably not. Well, the only reason we might play him would be
if he didn't free hit in 28.
Yeah, and that's only if Wolves get a game because they've got Leeds.
Well, all right.
So if
hold on,
Fulham. So if Leeds beat Fulham, then Fulham and Liverpool get a game in 28. If Fulham beat Leeds,
that's no free hit.
Then Leeds and Wolves.
So don't play him in 28 either. No matter what happens,
no, you will. You play him in 28 if you'll play him in 28, but you'll probably free hit. Yeah,
exactly.
You're playing him free
so you
hit
won't play him. So he's either not got a game when I don't free hit, or I free hit when he has got a game. So there's no chance.
He's never played.
No, he's never played.
27's a double. This weekend he's got Tottenham. 29's a double. Never played him.
Never playing him again.
Never, ever, ever, ever played him again.
Which is fine because he doesn't return. So it's fine.
Third on your bench. See you later.
3.9 million. Who cares?
Who cares?
Everton versus Villa. I mean,
some people went. Quite a few people. Ivan, our friend, went McNeil over Sarabia this weekend. I don't know what's going on with McNeil and crosses, but he's spamming. He made 13 crosses in this game. That's a lot of crosses.
A lot of crosses.
That's a lot of crosses in a game. It's actually quite. When you look at the XG just in general, it's quite a fun game.
Yeah. They're definitely a much better side under Dyche. I mean, and that sounds like obvious. It sounds quite obvious saying that, but they are genuinely a lot better side. Just confidence-wise going forward as well. Even players like Mopé actually looks relatively competent. That said, not scoring goals, that hasn't really changed. No. Unfortunately, even chances at Iwobi in the first half as well had a chance. And it's just typical FPL that Luka Dean gets subbed in the 60th minute to bank a clean 3 minutes before everyone's Tarkovsky clean sheet gets wiped out by Ollie Watkins, who cannot keep up this form.
Mate, Dino was playing for Villa now. He doesn't play for Everton anymore.
No, I know. No, I know, but he's a troll, isn't he? So what I'm saying is he's. Yeah, but he just doesn't matter. I'm just saying he's banked his clean sheet. That's all.
He's banked his clean.
I'm just saying he's banked his clean. That's not the point I was making. I see where you're going. Right. I completely forgotten he played for Everton, but yeah.
Yeah,
but no, it's just the fact that
I thought you were trying to suggest that
they
no. Kept his Everton clean.
No.
But yeah. I mean,
Everton that's not Everton. Villa, have we overlooked them over this stretch because of the doubles? Is it Villa have been one of these teams that we've just basically gone, but double game week, and but double game week, but
double game week. Yeah, but I still think they're Villa as well. Like, effectively, if you take away the penalty, just take away the penalty, yeah. Mm-hmm. They've been smashed up on XG by Everton in a game.
Yeah, okay. And they didn't do anything for a half of football.
They hadn't done. They really didn't do anything other than if you take away the penalty, like it makes a big difference to this chart. It's still a penalty, so it's still a goal and all the rest of it. But it does make a big difference to this. The good part is about Villa is that you only want Watkins, really.
Which is fine.
But everyone else is yes, they you can say. But I wouldn't want a piece of defence that's just conceded 1.7 XG to Everton. Fair dudes. I know Brad's got Mings, and there's lots of other people that have got him and the likes of it, but it's just fine. Like, but none of us can afford the transfers now. It'll be like on your bench if you're free hitting in 28 and stuff like that. But it is what it is. You know, Watkins is a fine option. That's the good part about this, is if nobody's really doing a lot, like when they play Bailey up with him, or they play Duran, either one they play, they both fly off to the right. One of the things that, you know, when they played like Watkins and Ings up top, was Watkins would do all the work. Well, now it's all about him taking the pens, all about him. Perfect storm for him. So Watkins, really good option. Really good option.
Are we concerned that he didn't pick up all 3 bonus though?
Well, he's never. The problem with it,
just because he misses chances.
Yeah, he loves missing chances.
Yeah,
Watkins.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all the defenders were above him, so you almost need them to win to something other than 0.
Yeah,
they don't keep it clean, he'll get involved. But if they do keep it clean, he's not basically getting involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he scores, and he's not even in the top 5, is he?
No,
not even in the top 5 for the bonus.
No, he's
because he always gets minus on his baseline.
Yeah,
because he just
out bonus by Matt Cash.
Yeah, and where he works and puts himself about a bit, gives away the odd foul. It's just
tackles
terrible for bonus.
Like that, yeah.
So basically, let's just not bother.
Okay. We've got 2 games to go.
We've got West Ham.
Oh, I went to Leeds first.
Save West Ham.
Yeah, we'll save that for the end. Leeds.
So Javi Gracia's first game.
I enjoyed Junior Firpo's interview when he said he used to be a striker, and I was looking at that thinking, there's no fucking wonder they've sent you back to left back if you've hit the ball like that, because it was absolutely horrific.
It just kept getting moved back.
No strikers, but no strikers hit the ball like that. If you're a good ball player, fine, we'll keep you on the pitch, but you can't be a striker. So back you go. Midfield, nah, you still can't do that. Back you go. Left back.
I definitely felt like when they put Javi Gracia in, I felt like it was like but then my next thought was, yeah, but I like Leeds recruitment. In general, I like Leeds recruitment, you know, whether it be players, managers, everything. And then I thought they must know stuff that we don't know. So I sort of looked up a little bit and I was like, oh, he did win a few like manager of the month. He actually did good at the start with Watford, you know, saved them from relegation, got them to an FA Cup final and all that stuff.
Everyone does good at the start of Watford because they change a manager every 3 months. Everyone's fucking terrible.
Yeah, they know
there's no benchmark.
I thought the only good thing in a very short period of time was he clearly changed some shape. I don't know how I'd feel about it. You're a non-toe owner, and obviously, I mean, he got 1 point. He might have been very close to 0 points when he went off dead on 60. But they just used him as a pure outlet. Like his heat map literally is like an extreme fallback. He is full on left wing, stretch the team, hug the touchline, up and down, up and down. So that's clearly an instruction thing of they're going to try and use his pace and try and use that to get us down the pitch. Not particularly great for him playing up front type thing. Whereas when Somerville, if you look at Somerville's heat map when he came on, completely different. Somerville very much central. So it was like almost like a create the room. Then it become more of a free up top afterwards. So I don't know what that means for Nonto. I really don't. It's one game, first game. Who knows whether. But Andy Marks just said Nonto won't play for me again this season.
Yeah,
it's odd. It's a really odd thing for him that they just stuck him out. You know, this looked like a good game on paper for a blank game week for you with him, and then they stick him out right out left, and then they take him off after 60 minutes. Yeah. So it's not great. The rest of it, can't touch these people. Unless you're Andy, who just has Perro and gets him subbed off before a clean sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, what a good week that man's had. No hit. Leeds win 1-0, and he has a Southampton defender who gets taken off.
He's still got Martinelli as well.
And still has Martinelli. I hate you, Martin. I hate you, Andy Martin.
Now that I will clip. Right, let's move on to West Ham versus Forest last game. So if you have some questions, feel free to chuck them in the chat now. We've got one question from Discord. I might check, see if there's a couple more. But yeah, let's talk West Ham Forest, which was much ado about nothing until Danny Ings popped up with his first goal.
I mean, this is basically what should have happened with Haaland last week. You know what I mean? Like everyone's trying to say, "Oh, it was a bad decision" and so forth. If you haven't got your two centre backs, like Felipe might have been all right once, but it's still Felipe. Like he's still old and new to the league and all that stuff. Like that's a big problem for them. It's a big problem for them. And, you know, they obviously got some big chances towards the end, but they were making chances all game. And this is West Ham who have not been making chances. Big change, obviously. Ings up top. Feels right, doesn't it?
It feels better.
70 minutes, get as much as you can out of him. Bring on Antonio to batter him for the last 20 minutes. Two seasoned pros, great strikers, plenty of ability, plenty of experience. Win games.
Yeah, and Ings is, you know, his career took a while to get going, Ings, but he established himself as, you know, a really important striker for Southampton, then Villa. And yeah, I think he's because he's actually a proper striker, whereas Antonio's kind of like a midfielder that's moved into striker. I don't get convinced, like Antonio's not your 10, 15 goal a season guy, not your consistent one, whereas I feel like Ings, you'll get 10 to 15 a season anyway, if you give him enough. So, you know, obviously he's only got half a season with West Ham now. That might be enough to keep him up at the end of the day. You know, he's just one of those good professional strikers, isn't he? He's got no nonsense. But at the same time, you know, I think I remember this a couple of years ago where literally it didn't matter what it hit on Ings when he was at Villa. It's just sort of went in. It's one of those where like his knob and it went in, all this sort of stuff.
Did.
Like this one basically
scored one of his arse. He definitely scored one of his arse.
But this one was off his knee, wasn't he? He was almost like skipping up and it just sort of hit his knee and then it hit the defender and still just continued to roll in for the second one. You know, if that's what West Ham need, then that's what they need at the end of the day.
It's a big win. It's a big statement, big win. It creates a lot of doubt, a 4-0 loss to a team that's not scoring for Forest. All eyes on them next week. But that could be problems. Yeah. And then what they got? Oh, they got Tottenham in 27, haven't they?
Well, we can go to the. Let's go to
the fixtures. Let's go fixtures.
Tottenham in 27. Yeah.
At Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
No Kane.
With no Kane. With no Kane.
We've got no Kane. We just sold Kane.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it'd still be a wild card week, couldn't it? See how we get there.
Could be a wild card week.
Could still be.
Or it could be a dead end week into a wild card week.
Would you do dead end 27, free hit 28, wild card 29?
Could well happen. I think there's going to be some wild cards flying towards it this week. I think there's going to be. This is our lovely chart from our friend Lego Mane, who we didn't put this line. He put this line on here, which is he's put a line for everybody that they are not allowed to make a transfer before Wednesday the 1st. And he probably, if he could, would have put a time on before about 10 p.m. UK time on Wednesday the 1st, so after the games have been played, because then we'll know a lot more about who's blanking, who's, you know, any injuries, all the rest of it, all the stuff we'll know. Yeah. But the turnaround is so short for this game week 26. it is so short. You know, look at the amount of team. Bath, Brentford, who haven't played since the 18th of February, from the 18th of February to the 6th of May.
March. 6th of May would have been incredible, but yeah,
6th of May would be amazing. Just I never know when it's that long whether it's a good thing.
It feels like an international break without your players actually getting any minutes in their legs.
Yeah, but the good thing about Brentford is that
they're analytics.com, aren't they themselves? So they will be just working on the things that give them the best chance to make the biggest chances, which give them the best chance to score goals. So it could work. It could work well for them. In fact, for Brentford, which is more about that kind of side of the game. Oh, I mean, obviously all teams do it, but more so that Brentford than anywhere else, it could be a good thing.
It's tough. Just don't do nothing. Basically, don't do nothing till the end of Wednesday night, but be ready. Like, try and find some room Thursday to try and take the stuff in.
Yeah, there'll be
content. Probably let us know in the chat if you're in it. Let us know when you're doing burning questions this week. I think probably the wire will be Thursday. They're going to do some stuff. It's going to be quick turnarounds. Yeah. I think Planet FPL said they were going to do potentially a chip pod on Thursday following this. There's just going to be all sorts. Praz just said if Fulham win 100% wildcard on Tuesday night for my team.
Okay, 99%.
Wow. Tuesday night?
Yeah. Leeds Fulham is Tuesday night.
Leeds Fulham is Tuesday night. I forgot about the FA Cup when that fits in. Also, we will start to know some stuff before Wednesday. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hello.
Cool. Right. We are way beyond an hour now, so let's just let's wrap up a few questions if anybody has one. I've got an interesting question from Discord. So Steve asks, my question to you guys, Adam and Baker, as content creators, is it getting more and more difficult to come up with new content that differs from others? I listened to quite a few podcasts and all seem to be mirroring each other recently and suggestions for the same players to pick. For example, this week, the masses were suggesting Darwin, even though we knew he was carrying an injury and Klopp told us that he was rotating. But every man and his dog still went there because every content creator suggested Darwin, in quotes. He still could return on Wednesday, but how difficult is it becoming to stay ahead of the game? And I thought this was a really good question because I think we're more aware that there are more content creators now than ever before. And it's always going to be engaged managers that are creating content. That's just the way it is. You just wouldn't bother if you weren't an engaged manager. In terms of how difficult is it to come up with new content? I mean, the players tend to drive the content that you talk about, and the fixtures drive that. So, there's always going to be we're not going to walk into a double game week with Liverpool and Arsenal, and I'm going to sit here and say, Captain, I don't know, pick Junior Firpo, for example, right? I'm not going to do that just to be different for the sake of it. So there are going to be similarities, and we've got history of good players doing good things, and we know, Darwin's expected data is not a secret, and he's got a double game week. So let's, Darwin picks up an XG per game, roughly, doesn't he? Something like that on his own.
Yeah.
And so you go, right, I'm going to go into a game week without a guy that's in this game week's going to get 2 XG, roughly.
I mean, that's for me. Like, that was the same as this. I was like, who do I like? I think, just in general with this one is, I do get a little offended on Twitter and stuff like that when people just sort of like call people like although they say the content creators like it's some kind of like we're like some kind of weird society.
It's a stick to hit people with.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if they mean us when we're doing that sort of stuff, to be fair. But it's loads of people make the same. Before the deadline, it was like 30,000 people an hour were doing De Bruyne to Salah. It's not a content creator pick; it's the world, And yes, obviously, content creators will drive those ones, but that's where this game should be about your comfort zone of where you're happy with it. You've got to be really resilient this week to have, been and gone through and not made hits. Like, that's why I really applaud it. Now, as long as that person can really look at it and go, was I being resilient or was I being stubborn? Because if you're just being stubborn because actually you want to be sort of anti-establishment, then that's probably not the way to be.
Yeah,
but if you're like, actually, I'm resilient and I'm going to do it because actually I've planned longer than this, and actually I'm not going to FOMO my way into it. So I think everyone just has to look at it and work through, why did I do what I did? Like me, I took a -12. Why did I do that? Because actually I've been watching Nketiah every week and thinking at some point I just see braces happening. I suspected that he would potentially get 3 goals across Everton and Bournemouth, and the Bournemouth game was part of my target. And I suspected that White would miss one of those 2 games, either the Everton or Bournemouth game. That ain't happened yet. So at the end of the Bournemouth game, I'll sit down and go, that's why I made that decision. I'll know then. And I also thought that Leicester would score, but that's, also didn't help me. So we all look at these and we work them through. But we all do talk as well, because most of us get on. We do get on. It's not a society, but there are some that do, and there are some that don't. Like Praz is in here, he's watching this and he's chatting, he's thinking this through, and he'll do his stuff. So I think people, when they see that these people do get on, like they think they're within society. We're not just like anybody in this game. We're just friends trying to work through what our feelings are.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's up to you what kind of content you want to consume, whether you want to consume sort of a discussion style content, which would be kind of us and even like FPL Family and the Wire guys, and to an extent like Black Box, or there's more data in there. Jose Black Box, lots of data in there. You can go to the ones that are more direct, which Focal and Let's Talk, great content. Harry as well, of course. All these guys, depends on what you want to pick up, and then it's up to you to take the information that you want, and then as James on Planet FPL always says, it play it your way. And that's if you want to copy someone, copy someone. If you don't want to copy someone, don't. If you want to be anti-establishment, I mean, I'm Mr. Anti-establishment when I want to be. I can, I even said it on Twitter earlier. I said, people telling me that Gakpo's not going to start makes me want to play Gakpo, makes me want to bring him in. That's what made me want to bring him in. I didn't do it in the end. I caved. But
people should find from content creators what they want. So it sounds like being really nice to Praz in the chat here, but what I look for from content creators, my personal view of content creators, is somebody that doesn't really talk a lot so much about their team, but tries to give you the view of how they see the game. And I think Praz is probably the one I'd hold up most on that I look at it and always feel like he helps me understand the decisions that I want to make. That's what I want. But there are loads of others where, because it's time constraints, because of anything, they want someone to just tell them to do something. There's so much in there. There's nothing wrong with that either, because you might just be bloody busy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep. Right. Let's see if there's any other questions. Let's just see if there's any other questions in here. Someone says Fraser forced a back-to-back clean sheets. Fair play to you. What if Blackburn win? Who Blackburn playing?
Leicester.
Oh, we're saying we go Nacho?
28.
Nacho, Watkins.
Not fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. Are there any other questions in here? Not many questions, to be honest. I think
we're done.
I think we're done. Yeah, cool. Let's go back to the main view there. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else to add. Remember, guys, if you want to help support us, then make sure you hit like. If you want to watch more, hit subscribe. And there is one question. Okay, I'm going to answer this last one question. The best Brentford defender except me. Rico Henry?
Yeah. Again, I probably would go Henry, because at least it feels fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's nothing behind that then. Just feels fun.
I don't see it. Do you know why I especially don't see it for the 27 defenders? Is that Trippier, home to Wolves. You've got Shaw, home to Southampton. You've got Arsenal defenders away to Fulham, which, you know, we never know. Mitro might still be out by then. Is you've got Liverpool away to Bournemouth. So Estupiñán in itself, Estupiñán is the standout for me of those two games. It's going to be hard enough to look past me as it is. Me at 4.9 million with 2 away games. It would be Estupiñán. Just don't overthink it, I don't think.
Cool. Yep. Well, there's obviously games to come for the rest of this game week. So however you're doing, don't worry about it too much. It is essentially half time. Thank you for coming along to those in the stream. Really appreciate you being on here. As I say, make sure you hit like on your way out. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. If you're listening on podcast, if you want to leave a review and just let us know what you think, that'd be absolutely great. If you do have some negative feedback, we know we will accept negative feedback. Just let us know what we're doing wrong and we'll look to improve for next week. As always, you can always join us again on the Discord, patreon.com/aboveaveragefpl. And we will see you all next week. Speak to you later, mate.
See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.